So one really important thing that we can understand is that this self concept is not fixed, it's ever changing. It's a very omnipresent feeling. Yeah, so we're always thinking I. That's why I think some quite clever marketing with the and naming with iPhones, iPads, iMacs. I mean, it's clever, isn't it? Because it has actually created that sense of it being an extension of self. I mean, actually, we use a phone to call others, so we could call it a you phone. And we don't really call others anymore, do we? But text others, message them. So we think I all the time. I. It's all the time going on. I'm this, I'm that. And it is quite changeable. Like, I'm tired, I'm energetic, I'm stressed, I'm happy. It's all very fluid. And so from this we can understand that the self isn't fixed. It's not fixed. In fact, from a Buddhist point of view, there is no self. All there is, there's no inherent self. All there is a concept of self that we develop in dependence upon other things. And that is changing all the time. But we can have some quite entrenched patterns. So that's actually really good news, isn't it? Because if the self isn't fixed, then we can change. So everything that I'm going to teach today is actually incredibly hopeful. And I think can be very helpful practically. So for example, this is a kind of wisdom that the self doesn't exist inherently, it's not fixed, and that we don't need to grasp at it as solid and real. So it's a kind of wisdom. So for example, if we're feeling insecure, we can think, well, who is there to feel insecure? Just this fleeting sense of self. That's all it is. It's like you make it a little bit less solid. You don't need to grasp at it. Oh, now I'm feeling inadequate. I am inadequate. Well, what is that I? It's just that thought. I am inadequate in that moment. There's no inherently not good enough person in there. So then the whole sort of goal is, how can we make this ever-changing fluid self, how can we base that around positive things that give us a positive sense of self most of the time? And how can we be wise when those more difficult selves are arising? How can we learn how to work with them? And one thing we can remember is this. I mean, who is there really to feel not good enough? To feel inadequate, to feel overwhelmed, to feel irritated, even to fail. Who is it that fails? Just that momentary self. So we don't need to grasp at it and make it any bigger than it is.